future, stuff like that. But people use it for a wide variety of meanings. Okay. The past haunts us all. Whether it be a person, place, or thing, we are reluctant to let go. We call to the dead out of desperation and intrigue, searching for answers about what lies behind the shadows. We are paranormal researchers. We are Necromancers. Hello and welcome to the Necromancer Live Show. I am your host, Justin Brown, and this is episode 35, and we have the Parasoul Sisters with us tonight. We actually have Dell, Sarah, and Brittany here with us tonight, and but there's other members that we'll shout out during the live stream as well. Let's bring them over and start talking some paranormal with these gals. What's up, girls?
Hi.
How are you ladies doing tonight?
Doing tired.
I feel you. If you hear a child in the background, it's just the little guy. Pay no mind to that. But I'm glad that you guys are here on the show. I'd like to get to know everybody that's in the para field. It's nice to seek out people with similar interests and talk to them and learn from them and just grow as a paranormal community. I'm huge in supporting people and getting to know them and trying to strengthen the community, by doing that. But like I said, thanks for coming on, and we're going to try to get to know each other a little bit better, specifically you guys, not so much me. But I would like, you guys can decide who talks first and who goes next, but I would like to know why you guys research and investigate the paranormal? Is it because you've had past paranormal experiences that you've had personally, or what is the reasoning?
I'll go first. I know I started when I was younger because my family has always been into like tarot card readings and stuff like that. And then my best friend had passed away in 2012, and I knew that there was a way to communicate. So I wanted to get deeper into the field and learn more about it. And that's kind of what intrigued me to go and start a team and see if there was more people that were interested in it.
Right on.
I'll go second. I kind of the same, not the same at all, actually. I was really young and I had paranormal experiences growing up in my home. My family did. And it just kind of was like this thing that always just kind of stuck out. Like we ended up moving because of it. And like the paranormal just always kept coming back around. And not just the paranormal, but like UFO stuff and Bigfoot. And it all just interested me so much. I always wanted more and more and more information and watch videos and watch shows and YouTube. And then my cousin joined the team, Amanda, who's not on the podcast tonight, and a position opened up for another investigator, and I kind of jumped on ship.
Right on. How about you, Dell?
Okay, so are you laughing because you know what I'm about to say?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I'm like a total skeptic. I don't know how to explain it, but mine goes back to when I was a little kid. I would watch the Poltergeist movie, and I wanted to be that little girl that slid across the floor. Like that's so I've been. Don't judge me.
I'm not judging. I always think it's funny.
But it's true. So I don't know that I've had a lot of things happen to me, at least not before I joined the team, but I've always been interested in it. So it goes all the way back to like being a child watching that. So
That's interesting. One of my favorite movies from back in the '80s was definitely Poltergeist. It scared the shit out of me, and it's forever imprinted into my mind. That movie.
Yeah. If Dell goes across the floor at any of the locations, I don't know if I'm staying.
But that's
staying.
you're trying to find those things. You're going to want to stay for a while.
I'm not staying in the room with her. She can handle it by herself.
which we know is not true.
I know.
All right. Well, you girls are mostly from Indianapolis, Indiana area. Is all of you live in the same area, or is it kind of spread out?
We're within, I want to say 45 minutes of each other. Me and Dell live 10 minutes from each other, and then Brittany and Amanda live in Newcastle and Anderson, which is only about 35, 40 minutes away. And then Michael's in, I always forget about Joe Mike. Michael's in Noblesville, which is only like 20 minutes. So we're pretty central to each other.
So, did who pretty much founded the group, and who's the newest member, and how does each member play a role, and how do they? I know Brittany kind of suggested how she got in, but who pretty much founded the group, and what's everybody's role in the group?
That was me. Everyone calls me Mom on the team. Back in 2000, it was like late 2012, early 2013. I had started it with a couple other girls, and they just they didn't work out. We kind of had different outlooks on how to be a team and what to do when we went on locations and conventions. So we kind of just parted ways. But for me, I'm the head bitch in charge. Basically, I give them stuff to do, and we like tell. I don't want to say tell, but I'm like, here, you go set up this, and you go do this. So I kind of delegate what we're doing when we first get there, and then I don't want to say lead investigator because we all investigate as much as anyone else on the team. But I'm the planner really, and just if we're gonna go do something, I'm gonna tell you what we're going to do, and then we're going to go in as a team.
If you won't call yourself a leader, I will. You're definitely
no. I don't like saying that. No, and then Amanda was next. She's been on the team almost the same amount of time as I have, and she came on We put out a thing that we were looking for another investigator, and she got in touch with me, and we did like a little interview and fell in love with her, and that was history with Amanda.
Nice. How about you,
Go ahead,
Dale?
Brett.
Or Brittany?
Oh, and then I came after, obviously, after Amanda joined, and I would say my role on the team is I don't really think I have like a really specific role, but I'm definitely the one that's more. I haven't yet been afraid on an investigation. I tend to like wander, and I just try to get to the most active area at any
By
place we go.
herself all the time. We can never find her. When we first get to a place, within like a good 10 minutes, she's gone. Like, we don't know where she is.
I just like to wander. I like to, see if I feel anything because I don't specifically like feel things. And so if I actually go somewhere and feel something, then I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is new. This is something different for me.
Right.
And Delanie's pretty much the newest. She's the baby.
That's true. And I'm probably, I hate to use the word afraid, but like I don't want to be afraid, but like it makes me nervous. I deal with anxiety, so I think that plays a part into it. But I would say I investigate, but I'm more of like the background. I'll do a lot of like research on places, especially when we do like home investigations, or residential investigations. So I do a little bit like the research on places that we go. But I still investigate as well.
And she watches our cameras when she's not investigating. Like, she'll come out and investigate with us, but for the most part, she's down watching the cameras and like letting us know if she sees anything going on in other rooms. And then we just go out and we go to see where she says she's seeing activity.
Nice. So I take it. I've read some of your guys' bio and everything. Michael does the filming for you guys. Is that right?
Yeah, he does. We call him our security guard also because he goes into the places to make sure that we're not going to like fall through the floors if it's an old place. And with residentials, he normally will go and do the interviews with myself or whoever's going to do it because there's a ton of crazy people. So I want to say he's a big part. He's like the backbone, really. He helps out with everything. He helps with our setting up the gear, doing the videoing and everything. So he does it all, really.
Yeah, it's very important to have a safety officer on the team dedicated to do those things. It's going to be dangerous.
Oh yeah. We've had some crazy encounters with some residentials, and I know that if I were by myself with some of these, I probably would have been like, I'm gonna go because you are really insane.
Do you guys do mostly residential cases, or what do you focus on?
We have a bucket list, and then when we aren't doing stuff on the list, we get a ton of calls. I feel like recently we've been getting a lot, but we do when we get residentials, we mainly focus on ones that have kids involved or they have to have like consistent activity. But we don't really take on every residential case that comes by, but we do a lot of residentials.
What places outside of residentials have you gone that maybe our viewers have heard of and not heard of?
I'll go ahead, Brittany.
Oh, the one that I think kind of sticks out was Fox Hollow for me. It was my first kind of like real big place we ever went, and it seemed like the last time we were there in August, it was like super active. And at the time, I was 7 months pregnant, so I don't know if that had like an effect on me personally, but it's definitely one of the experiences there have been like my favorite, I think.
We've also we've been to Ashmore, we've been to Whispers. I've been to the team hasn't gone, but I've gone to Waverly. I've gone to Villisca Axe Murder House. We're getting ready to go do the Beatty Mansion in June. Reverend acres here in Indy. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. I don't know. Now that I gotta
If
list
it's
them
in
all.
Indiana, we're trying. If it's in Indiana, we're giving it a go.
Yeah.
Is there any places that you've gone to, maybe, or some urban legends, or just, places outside of residentials that we may not have heard of from television or otherwise?
Without the team, when I was like younger, like in my teenage years, I went to here in my town a place called Main Street Graveyard, and it's supposedly really haunted. And the whole I think every town has it, but it also has a Civil War section, and I didn't catch it and I didn't see it, but there was some pretty significant evidence of like smoke. Like you could see a face coming out of the smoke, which was really cool. But that was here in Anderson, Indiana, and anyone who's in Anderson knows what I'm talking about.
I personally, and I can't remember the name of the cemetery because it was a really long time ago. It was here in Indy. There was a myth that, or an urban legend, whatever you want to call it, that if you go to this one graveyard, there is a grave of a slave in this. It's in a church cemetery, but there is the one that the slave owner, his stone is there, and apparently he did like a brutal murder on this slave, and the wife cursed him, and there would always be some sort of some sort of reminder that of what he did. And I think they said it's like every couple of years they replace his headstone, and the imprint of a chain is wrapped around his stone. It's just like it just shows up all the time because I believe that the legend was that he hung the slave with a chain instead of a rope. But also they said if you touch it that you die. And I was like, well, I'm really not going to try that out. I don't want to die. But we found the stone, and there was imprints of like just a regular chain around it. But it looked like kind of, I don't want to say drawn on, but it looked like somebody had wrapped it around and had like been burned on. And they said it disappears every time they replace it.
That's interesting. Dale, do you have anything to add to that?
Okay. Are we talking about places that they haven't heard of? Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to
urban
know about
legends.
something I probably haven't heard of before.
No, not the only place I can think of. I don't know. I don't know the whole story. Was the Rhodes Hotel. Who went there, Sarah?
Oh, that was everybody. That was us, and then Three Girls in the Dark.
Who went there when it was a hotel or whatever?
Supposedly, wasn't it John Dillinger?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard.
Supposedly.
Okay, so that was my very first investigation, and I felt that it was very active. So I've only been to 4 places.
Well, what happened at the Rhodes Hotel? I'm curious.
Oh God. It was actually funny. It was actually a charity event that we put together. And so we had, I guess, youth friends, co-workers that work with me and Sarah, came to investigate with us. And a lot of people had already left, but there was a girl that stayed with us, and she was in the bathroom. Was it the one with the shower, stand-up shower? Right? And,
yeah.
Sorry, it gives me the chills. She,
you want me to finish it?
Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, the bathroom supposedly has a lot of activity in there, and she went in there with actually not just my friend, our friend Teresa Lynch, and her husband was there also. But we had said on the walkie-talkies, hey, so start speaking Spanish, see if we can get a different response or if there's anything that speaks a different language. And she started speaking Spanish, and all you hear is Teresa yelling, turn on the lights, turn on the lights. And I'm going like, what the hell? Why are we turning the lights on? And so I get in there, and the girl that we work with is out on the floor, completely seizing out. And I'm like, oh shit, like I don't know what to do because I haven't had anybody fall fall out and have a seizure on any investigations we've done. And like her husband is telling us she has no issues. She like doesn't have any. She's never had a seizure. She doesn't have any blood pressure issues. Nothing like that. So Amanda's actually a nurse. So she's like, no, Sarah. Like she goes, this is. It's not. You know, it looks like a seizure, but it's not normal. Blah blah. So I call 911, and they come and they check her out, and they said that she's completely fine. And Teresa and Jay walk her around the church that's across the street from the Rhodes Hotel, and all you can hear is her puking. So we're like, oh, you know, that's not good. So she comes back in the house, and with like 2 seconds of coming back in, she dropped and had a seizure again. And we were just like, all right, well, you need to go home because this isn't normal. Like this is not something healthy for you anymore. And if there's something jumping you, like I don't want to keep on having you fall out and have seizures.
So this was a team member or someone attending the event?
No, it was just somebody attending. It was one of the ladies that we worked with, and she downed a gallon of water like after everything happened, and she couldn't remember anything. She said that she remembers hearing us, and like she was trying to say something to us, but she couldn't say anything at all.
Does she have a history of epilepsy or any type of
No,
seizures?
nothing at all. And
That's crazy.
she told us, told us later on that her dad used to perform exorcisms when they lived in Las Vegas. And I was like, oh, well, you know, it's probably, probably part of what's going on.
Probably should have made that.
Well, you're there to experience the paranormal, so I guess she got what she needed.
Oh yeah, she got more than she wanted, and so did we. Because I'm all for getting evidence and all that, but I don't want to see somebody, you know, actually getting physically hurt like that. Because
Right.
she ripped off her toenail and everything, and didn't even respond to it.
Yeah,
Oh, I forgot.
that's pretty gross. So, speaking of evidence, what do you guys focus on when you do your investigations? Do you, I know in your bio, you guys use old school methods and low tech methods to investigate. When you do that, what do you try to focus on, and what kind of research are you trying to do when you investigate?
You want to answer,
Mind if I
Brett?
go first?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for myself, like I do use a voice recorder,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I personally like I'm looking for validation and to record my validations, but at the same time, I'm like more out for I don't want to say out for myself, but like I want to see it for myself. Like if I catch it on camera or if I catch it on recorder, I'm going to be excited, like beyond excited. But if I see it or if I hear it, that's more validation for myself, because when I was younger and all these years of like hearing and seeing things and thinking that I was just imagining it as a kid, as an adult, hearing and seeing it, it's like validation for myself. And that makes me feel better, obviously. But, you know, if I do catch it on camera, if I do catch it on a record, then I'm super stoked. But at the same time, if I don't, and I just see or hear it for myself, then that is enough for me. Like, you know. Anyone that's in the field, you do get feelings, you do get that like overwhelming sensation from time to time from different places. But like, if I catch it, fantastic. I want to share it with everybody. If I don't, and it's just me, myself, that I feel or see or hear, I'm okay with that.
All right, so you pretty much you personally focus on voice phenomena and see if you can actually catch an apparition or some type of visual anomaly on camera.
Correct. I actually just got a brand new camera that I'm excited, and I haven't got to use yet, so I'm
Nice.
super excited to use that. Like beyond.
Well, I'm looking forward to what you may capture. Anybody else want to chime in on this question?
I personally, I don't like using a lot of the gear only because it doesn't matter if you don't have your cell phone on you. Like something is going to probably trigger whatever, you know, I don't know, the K2 or whatever you have out. So I'm not crazy about always using them. I like to rely more on myself, and you know, if not, I don't want to say abilities, but I have a form of sensitivity, so I definitely rely a lot more on how I'm feeling or how I'm responding to the different things. But we use techniques like putting flour on the floor if there's supposed like footsteps being heard. So we just try to see if we can capture those kind of things. And instead of using what crap now I can't remember motion sensors, sometimes we'll put out like bells or ping pong balls because those are easily you're able to move those as well too, and just different things.
I'm curious about the flower. I know that's a very old school, low tech method to see if there's any validation to the footsteps. But what do you think? Do you actually think it's something physically making contact with the floor to cause the footsteps, or do you think it's more of an audio anomaly that it's not involved with actual contact with the floor?
I think most of the time it's residual, but if there's that rare chance that it's actually something walking, then I definitely want to see if I can get a
Just something,
footprint. But
and something
It's also,
invisible.
well, and it's also gonna like eliminate animal or critter.
oh yeah,
That's a very good point.
So I mean, because if especially in an attic, like people are, oh, there's footsteps in the attic. Well, a raccoon can easily get in your attic.
Absolutely.
we've also used a fog machine too at Ashmore.
That was
There was so much. It was so much fun, but there is so much fog. It filled the third hallway so much. It was ridiculous. But we figured that we were going to try something new out, and we're going to put the fog machine out there, and we're going to see if we can see something walking through it. And I mean, we didn't see anything, but we definitely had a lot of fun walking through it ourselves.
and I think the bat had more fun with it than we did.
Oh yeah, the bats. Oh my God.
Del, do you have anything that you'd like to add? Like what you try to focus on? I know that you want to have an experience to kind of validate the question that lingers, but is there any type of phenomena or activity that you try to research primarily?
I probably go to either a recorder or dowsing rods. We all kind of have that, either a dowsing rod or what do you have?
I have a pendulum.
I am awful with words, so I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I told Sarah, I was like, I'm awful with words, but it's fine. I personally like the dowsing rods and being able to ask the questions, or just trying to push myself outside of comfort zone and doing things on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or when we push her and tell her she has to do certain things.
Don't do it.
The dowsing rods are shrouded in controversy. The main thing that I've seen is a lot of people like to debunk them with the idiomotor effect, and a lot of people try to combat that with using the tubes. But it's true that any subtle microscopic movement with your hands can make them do things. But with that being said, I've seen them do things pretty crazy. Like, I've actually seen people just use one, for example, and they'll walk into a room and it'll just spin like a top. And I mean, unless it's a trick, there's something manipulating it. So, it's interesting. I mean, my mother is an actual shaman and very gifted, paranormalist, and she uses dowsing rods. And if a lot of my scientific-minded friends seen that, they would laugh at me. But I have to stay open-minded because she used them to find portals and pockets of energy. And that's actually very common, especially in the old school, methodology. And the reason why I keep an open mind is she can find these spots and control and enhance some types of energy that I do not understand yet to make things happen. She actually can have some type of control over things happening, and the metaphysical properties of what is there. I'm not an expert on it, but it seems like she can control the energy, for lack of a better term, by using the dowsing rods to hone in on those spots. So it's something that I would love to research more and try to find more scientific legitimacy for them instead of just saying, oh, it's the idiomotor effect every time.
I kind of agree, because when I first came to the group, I was like, these aren't something I would use. And I even tried to use them and they never worked, like ever worked. Like it was just like something that would not work for me. And I would never get responses. Yes, no, nothing. They never moved. And then I got a pendulum and we did a session at Ashmore with Sarah and Dal, and I was getting responses. The same responses they were getting on their dowsing rods, I was getting on my pendulum. And it kind of like validated for me, like, okay, this isn't something for everybody. Like, dowsing rods aren't for me, but obviously I can use a pendulum just as well as they can use dowsing rods. So I think it's per person, like what works for them and what doesn't work for them.
That could be. That could be. All right, girls. Well, let's shift gears for a moment. What do you guys think? Do you seek out any research on metaphysics? Do you believe in psychics? Do you use psychic mediums? What is your overall general opinion on them?
I personally I believe in some. I won't say in all of them. I think there are a good handful of people that say that they have abilities, and I think I think a lot of it's for show or just because they heard their best friend saying that they have an ability. So, but definitely Melissa from Three Girls in the Dark. She's read myself. She read another team member as well, and I've seen her work on locations, and she's one that I definitely 100%. There's no doubt in my mind that she's gifted, and she's a light worker and a medium, and overall she's awesome. But it really just I don't know. I feel like I can pick up on when somebody's bullshitting. So there's a lot that I'm kind of just like meh about, but there's a good handful of actual mediums that I believe in, but there's too many people out there that say that they are, and it's kind of, and unless I see them doing what they say they're able to do, then I just kind of feel like you're full of shit.
Right. Now, being sensitive, I have a strong belief in, almost like you're a human EMF meter. You can sense some type of anomalous energy that should not be there. Do you have that ability, or do you believe in that ability?
I call it my bullshit radar. And even with my friends, like when they're not being truthful with me, I call them out on it. So I think it's more of, I don't want to, not on the empath side, but I know that I pick up on a lot of it. And I think that's what kind of deters a lot of people from being around me, is because of I'm able to tell when you're not being truthful.
So you're like a lie detector.
The human lie detector test. Yeah.
Well, as far as spirit energy goes, have you ever had an experience where you felt something that you knew was something of spirit?
At Fox Hollow. It was actually myself and Amanda. Amanda experienced something completely different, but for myself, there was this one room that I knew in the back of my head that I did not want to go in there. I felt like something was just not nice there, and they didn't want us in there. And when later on, when he got done doing the tour with us, he told us that that spare room that I didn't even want to look into was used for like an execution room, where if he wasn't able to drown them after he, or her Baumeister, after he like drugged them and tried to drown them, he would take them in there and shoot them. And that's where we've gotten some of the probably the craziest EVPs we've ever had, and like we've been touched. I watched Amanda's hair like get like, I don't know how to, it was like this, like go like that with her hair, like it's an insane room. So they're definitely stop apart.
Anybody else have an opinion on this question?
I'm just the opposite. I don't really get feelings, and like if I do, it's normally because I'm hungry. So it, for me, that's a whole nother realm that I'm not familiar with myself, and I just kind of go off what Sarah and Amanda say. Like, I take that into consideration, but like for me, I don't get feelings, I suppose.
Right. How about you, Del?
I don't either. I
You
want
don't either.
to. Yeah, I
Mhm.
want to, but not something that I've.
Right.
I mean, and I totally believe that people do have those feelings. It's just I myself, I don't get them. But and like Sarah said, like you just got to take some good with the bad, because there is, for every one person that says they're sensitive, I think like for everyone that says that, there's probably, only a handful that really are sensitive.
So Brittany, how do you think the pendulum works for you? What do you think is the mechanics involved, or your theory on how that works?
I have no idea. Like, I don't know. And it was really funny because the first one, I was really interested in them. And I asked Sarah, like, hey, she said, no, you need to talk to our friend Ryan. She said he has a better idea of what to do or what to look for. And he kind of just said, pick the first one that you really, really like, or like the one that draws you in, like, get that. And I happened to be on vacation and I saw one at like through like a little shop down in Madison, Indiana, and I was like, I really want it. I have to have it. The shop was closed. So I went back the next day, picked it up, and it was like, pow, like it worked immediately. Like I asked, like, show me yes, show me no. Like asked it some really asked some pretty personal questions about myself and answered every single one, like according to what I was asking. And um, I just have, I guess, I want to say like maybe a bond with it, make a little energy bond with it. And another thing is, I went on vacation again later on in the summer, and there was
Always happening.
a bunch of crystals hanging from a tree, like as a display to buy. And I put my hand over the tree, like the entire tree of all these crystals, and I got all the crystals swinging the same direction with questions I was asking. I really
Hmm.
freaked out my mom and my fiance, which was kind of fun. Uh, and then I had to stop because people in the store were looking at me, and I was like, "Okay, we gotta stop. We gotta leave. Like people don't understand."
What's interesting to me is people in the paranormal look. It seems like it's universal that they try to find a way to connect with energy, with spirit, with what have you. And would you agree, or would it be fair to say that you connected with the pendulum, and that's how you're able to connect with those type of energies?
I think so, because I was so disinterested in the dowsing rods, like just was not an interest for me. But as soon as I saw a pendulum, I was like, I want one.
Hmm.
That's my connection. And I don't know why I thought that was gonna work for me, but I was like, these aren't working, so let's try this. And it was an instant success.
So would you say that that's how you feel about the rods?
I would say yes. I don't know if Sarah remembers this, but during my very first investigation, she asked a question that no one else would know, that she wouldn't know. Or, oh, wait, I'm sorry. I asked a question she wouldn't know.
Mm.
Um, and so the rods gave the answer that I thought that it would. And since then, I was very intrigued by it. So,
Right.
yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people have different tools and methods they like to use, and what's I think one of the peculiar things about the paranormal is it's really hard to standardize certain methodologies. I know a lot of science-minded people like myself. I'm kind of torn between, science and metaphysics, but it seems like it's the paranormal is something, when it comes to methodology, is really hard to standardize what's right, what's wrong, which way is right, which way is wrong. Do you believe that anybody can answer this, by the way? Do you believe that any way is right or wrong? And do you believe that the paranormal investigation in general can be standardized in a way, excuse me, that science would seem or deem valid?
No, I think everybody has their own investigation styles, and I don't think one way is wrong and so tongue-tied, one way is right. But I mean, the thing you're not going to see me is like sacrificing stuff to get fucking results. That's not happening. But like, I'm not going to knock somebody's views or how they feel they should investigate to, communicate or get results. I think it's kind of ignorant for other people to think that their way is the only way, or they were the first persons to come up with some new method or whatever. Because if you're in the paranormal field, everybody's trying to do the same thing. We're, trying to prove that there's another side. We're trying to get in contact with the other side. And I mean, if there's other reasons, that's great. But I know a lot of people that I come across, it's just about like kind of proving that there's another side. I don't think there's a wrong way to do it, but I think it's an asshole move to say that my way is right and your way is wrong.
But you would agree that some things can cause more false positives than other, like the
Well,
K2
yeah,
meter
I
you
mean, people like
mentioned.
people like keep their phones on them while they're investigating. You see it on the shows all the time. They have their phones with them and their gear is going off. Well, you wonder why, because you're probably getting a text message and it's causing your shit to go off. Like there's certain things that are going to manipulate your gear to get, to make you think you're getting contact or evidence.
Yeah, and that may be true with all tools that are used.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like it's subjective how you would interpret those, results. Even through EVP on a digital recorder, there seems to be no real way in general to validate anything unless you're actually setting up something to do just that.
Yep. No, I'm with you there.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's no black or white way of doing this, and I think
And there's no
everybody.
experts in the field either. That also kind of gets to me when somebody says that they're, a professional or they're an expert. Nobody is an expert. And if you think that you're an expert, you're not. Like nobody, you really don't know what you're talking to.
Right.
That's
Yeah, I find it interesting when you come across the very popular videos with people using ITC devices and talking with alleged dead celebrities. That really burns my ass. What are your guys' position on that? On that?
Oh my God. Oh God. They're dead. Leave Prince alone. No, I don't, it's like when, oh God, now I can't remember her name. Was it, the shooting, the people that were on the Ghost Adventure show? Was it Deb and her ex-husband? Like the day after, people were like, "Oh, we've got in contact with them." And the same thing with Michael Jackson. I think it's bullshit. Like you're just trying to get attention. There's no way that he's gonna talk to Bob from Kentucky, the day after he dies. He's following his daughter around or something. I don't know. I think it's crap.
In short, it's crap.
and there's like you said, there's no way to validate who you're actually speaking with. Like you just don't know.
Right.
It's energy, and energy is everywhere. So like.
So, do you think it's possible that there could be some catfishing or some people outright, just lying to you when they're giving you names or when they're giving you responses? I mean, for the people watching that may be wanting to get into it or do this themselves, is that possible? Do you want to warn people that the responses and the results that they get are taken with a grain of salt, so to speak?
100%. And my example for that is we were at a location that we were at Reverend, and supposedly my best friend that had passed away was coming through, and like there are times I'll ask to see if he'll come through and like say certain things, and this whatever just kept on saying his name over and over again, and I was just like, this can't be him, because anytime that I feel like he's come on to let me know that he's there, or if he comes through like any of our EVPs or anything, I know it's him. But I feel like, especially if you're like looking for some sort of validation that it's a certain person, I think I call them feeders. I think that's like the best time for those kind of like energies to come out and like honestly feed off of how you're feeling and give you the results that you want. And it could be a negative presence or negative energy that wants to attach itself to you.
Right. So have you guys experienced anything as far as being attacked or negative or what some people may label as demonic?
No, we've never had a demonic attack, and I hate that word because everyone, as soon as something bad happens, it's demonic. But it could be your grumpy ass old neighbor that just died, doesn't want to be bothered. But no, I haven't demonic. I wouldn't say demonic at all. I've had like my hair pulled. I've been scratched and that kind of stuff. But I don't think that's demonic, and I think that's something all researchers in the field end up dealing with at some point.
Do you believe in demonic energies and forces?
Yes, I 100% think that there is, but I don't think that I've ever come in contact with it. I think if it was demonic, it would be way worse than it has been.
Well, and Sarah, you and I have had this conversation before. Like, what you put out is what you get it back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not out cussing and screaming and demanding a presence to be shown. You know, we go in and we get what we get, and you know, we just kind of gradually talk. Like most of us talk normally. You know, I just like if you're feeding into a negative energy, you're gonna get negative energy back. If you're feeding into a positive light energy, that's what you're gonna receive back.
Right on. Dell, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't know where she went.
Dell, can you hear
She
us?
probably, I don't know, she might have run to the bathroom or something.
Is she frozen? She looks frozen. Well, I'm interested in what people think about the topic because I like what you said about you get what you put out, but do you believe that there's like innocent children and innocent people that get possessed? Do you believe in possessions and demonic attacks even though they are unprovoked?
Yes, I think that there are people out there that have been possessed, but I think there are also a lot of people out there that say that they've been possessed because they want that kind of reaction from somebody or the attention that they had something traumatic happen to them. It's like when somebody dies, all of a sudden everybody knows that person. It's just an attention. I feel like it's an attention seeking method. I don't think everybody that has ever said they've been possessed have been possessed. And me and the guys from Reverend Acres go back and forth about this all the time because they have a video of this guy that said that, and it's pretty convincing. But in my mind, I'm going, okay, well, there's people that get paid to act. Like I wasn't there, so for me, I'm kind of going, I don't think that he was really possessed. I think he was just like stringing you guys along. But I mean, to each their own. I definitely think that it's possible, and I think that innocent people do have some sort of reaction and are able, to have that happen to them. But I don't, it goes back to being an expert. I don't think everybody really, I think it's just all for attention for a good chunk of it.
Yeah, I do believe that some people that label things as possession are good misidentified, like the Emily Rose case, where the Catholic priest came in and said, "All this woman, this young lady is possessed. We need to give her an exorcism," and she ultimately died. And they ended up getting prosecuted because they told the family members that she was possessed when she ended up having seizures, if I remember right. And she had this weird form of illness that went untreated because the parents of the child or the family of the child bought into the whole possession thing. And if you actually researched the Emily Rose case, which I have recently with Matt Benton, they were actually the Catholic priest came out and said, "Yeah, we were wrong. She wasn't possessed," and they actually were prosecuted criminally for that.
Oh,
And
wow.
nowadays, I think that you do see exorcisms still happen, and you do see the demonologists out there, but I'm pretty much with you guys on it. It could happen, but it should be rare. But I always want to get everybody's take on the whole subject matter because I'm trying to find out myself how legitimate and how rare it is.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's where I stand on it. Do you
No,
think
I
differently?
completely agree. I think they're rarities, and I think the people attention seeking, and sometimes I think it's misdiagnosed
Yeah, or I think that.
illness. I mean, that's just yeah, no. I'm even of a skeptic on that realm than Sarah.
All right, fair enough. Do you guys put up any of your findings and any of your data from investigations for people to peer review or watch on video? Do you do that at all?
We're YouTube challenged. I don't know. Like we've had people try to walk us through how to do it on YouTube, and I don't know how to do it. But we put some of our stuff up on Facebook, and when we go to conventions, and I know it doesn't give everybody the chance that's on our page to listen or see what we've caught, but we play this stuff at conventions and we show them at conventions and stuff like that, and we're more than happy to like send stuff because we've got it all in like I think it was a Google Drive. But as far as putting it out somewhere, I don't want to sit there and have to edit it, and I don't know how to edit it. That's not my thing. Like I can cook you something, but I cannot put something on YouTube. Like I don't know how to do it.
I recorder because my recorder won't upload to my computer, so I definitely have something I need to do.
Have you guys thought about getting somebody on the team or to help you with that, if that's something you're interested in?
Yes and no. I mean, we kind of have a hard time bringing on people because we're very tight knit. Like we really are just very 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 close, and not that we're not open to bringing people on the team, but it's just kind of we're in a groove. We know how each other works. We work well with each other, and we can read each other. But I think eventually I'll probably end up asking Gina or Emily or Ryan if they can show me how to do it because I don't know how. But no, I don't want to. I don't think we're gonna bring somebody else on the team to do it. If anything, we'll have one of our friends at least try to walk us through how to do it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm interested in knowing what type of investigations you guys have coming up, if there's any, and what type of events that you will be attending.
Do you want to talk about?
No, go ahead, Sarah. You're the one that does it. I was listening.
I hate you. Well, we investigation wise, we have BD Mansion coming up. We're doing that in June. I didn't tell the team about this because I just scheduled it. I scheduled Reverend Acres again for May 27th or 6th. I can't remember now. But every time we book that, Brittany can't ever make it because some traumatic event happens. Like she hits a possum and totals her car, and her fiance has a heart attack. So we'll see if she can make this one.
Do you think there's something going on at Revenant Acres?
Of what?
Do you think that there's something paranormal going on at Revenant Acres? What is your take?
Yes and no. We had a ball thrown at us, and oh hi Del, I see you're back on. And I'm very much a skeptic, but if I have it in my face, I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. But we deflated this ball and everything because our first reaction was, oh yeah, it's just gonna roll off or whatever because it's kind of on a slant. So we deflated it and we're sitting there, we're blowing on it to make sure it's not gonna blow over, and it's like it's deflated, and we are just sitting there, and you just hear this it just sounded like a big bang of plastic thrown on the floor, and it was thrown at us. So I think there's definitely some sort of energy there. I don't think it's as active or crazy as everybody has said it is, and I'm not knocking the location because overall it's a really cool house. But we haven't had a crazy amount of activity there where we're like, oh my god, we're not ever going to go there again, or we give places more than one shot. So I'm still waiting for like the wow factor. But I mean, it's a good location. I think I mean, if you haven't been there, you should. And everyone has a different experience, but I mean, we've been there a couple times now, and I mean, we pick up stuff here and there, but it's not anything that like I'm not afraid of it.
I have a question from one of my team members. Have you ever been interested in going to the Hannah House event?
The Hannah House event or the investigate it?
She put event, I believe.
Oh, because we go to the Hannah House paranormal meet and greet almost every year. But as far as investigate, that's one place I think is completely fished out, and I don't think it's haunted. And that's my personal opinion, but I don't think it's an active location at all.
It seems like when you look up the research, there's an interesting story, but it just seems like, the story is kind of, there's an embellishment on the history, and the whole urban legend is kind of, a whole scheme to get people to go in and, collect, some generation of revenue to keep the historical, structure actually there, because a lot of the historical
Yeah.
structures are finding it to be harder and harder to get the funds needed to keep it going, like the property taxes, the maintenance, and everything like that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
there is a very similar place in Ohio called the Prospect Place that's
Oh, I've
very
been
similar
there.
to Hannah. Yeah, I really love that location, and that
That's
place.
another place I don't think is active either.
Yeah, we found evidence of the contrary. That was one of the most active places as far as voice phenomena for me, and
Hmm.
it's strange that people can go to places time and time again and just not get anything, and others can. And that's what's really difficult about paranormal research, because it's so unknown to us that we just don't know why it happens for other people and it doesn't happen for others.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you there. I mean, there's plenty of places that, like Fox Hollow, we've had crazy experiences and crazy evidence from there. And then when we call them our sister team, Three Girls in the Dark came up, there wasn't a lot that was going on, and it was kind of disappointing because like we wanted to share this experience that we've all like had there every time, and we're like, yeah, you guys are gonna love it, and it just wasn't as active as it normally is, and so it was kind of disappointing. But yeah, I mean, we've gone to places and it's active, like Ashmar. There's days or not days, there's times that we go that it's active, and then there's other days where it's not at all.
Right. Well, we're approaching an hour, and I want you guys to have the opportunity to plug anything you want to plug. Let the viewers know how to follow your work and how to keep up to date with everything that you're doing.
Well, Brittany, you wanna? What are we on? We're on Twitter. Google, or if you look up Parasoul Sisters, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think we might even have a LinkedIn. Probably not. I think we do though. We're at most of the paranormal conventions. We'll be at Scarefest this year. We'll be, if I think SilCon's going on, we'll be there. But yeah, we'll be traveling a little bit as well for investigations and hoping to network with other teams. And yeah, really just look up Parasoul Sisters. We're on Facebook and pretty much all the social networks.
Cool. Well, I really appreciate you guys came on the show. It was awesome getting to know you girls, and I hope to see a lot of stuff come from your way. Hopefully, we can meet up at a convention or some type of meetup. I think we might. I'm not sure. I think we might be doing in the Hannah House meet and greet this year. I think I have one of my team members trying to orchestrate that. So if you guys are going to that again, we may see you then.
Oh, we'll be there.
We'll
Right.
be there with our tent.
Nice. Well, you guys, all the links to every plug they just mentioned are in the description of this video, so please go check out the Parasoul Seekers. They seem like very down-to-earth, straightforward paranormal researchers, and I support all that type of thing. We deal with a lot of drama, and a lot of fakery, and a lot of sensationalism in the parafield, and it's nice and refreshing to hear that people just like to keep it simple and keep it real. So I appreciate that, guys.
Well, we appreciate it too. And thanks for having us.
You're
Thank
very
you so
welcome.
much. It was an honor.
You're very welcome. Like I said, I don't seek out celebrities and like big time authors to be on my show. I just want to, talk to normal people like myself and get to know them. And that may hurt me, but I'm not trying to be some kind of para-celebrity myself, so I don't give a shit.
You don't want to be the next Zach
Just like
Bagans?
that.
I don't know.
No, I'm good. I'm good, Sarah. All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys get back to your normal lives. You have a good evening, and hopefully, I will see you again soon. Talk to you, and if not, I wish you all the best of luck.
You'll see
Thank
us,
you,
and you have a good
Justin.
night.
You too.
Bye.
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 All right, guys, there you have it. The Parasoul Sisters, really cool gals. Check them out on Facebook. Parasoul Sisters on Facebook. Check out their Instagram and Twitter below. Follow them if you liked them. So, again, thank you all for joining me each and every week. I do want to mention before I end the show and do the regular promotions that my YouTube channel is no longer qualified for Super Chat or monetization. I'm making zero revenue from the videos that I put on the channel and the live streams that I do. The only revenue that I'm getting right now is through Patreon. So with that being said, if you want to continue to see content on this channel, I need your help. I can't continue to do this for, next to nothing. All this equipment that you see here costs a lot of money. All the bills that go to keeping the internet going, the high-speed internet, all the cameras and all the software I use, it costs money. So I need your help. So if you are willing just to donate $1 to Patreon, okay, we'll bring up this social screen here. Patreon.com/support interface death. If each subscriber, or let's just say each viewer, we've had a peak of, let's see here. We've had a peak of about 15 people to watch this show. So if every one of those donated $1 a month, that would be $15. And that would pay, let's say, my live streaming app for my mobile devices that I use. So if we did that, that would be a step in the right direction. So I need your help, guys. Let's get on Patreon. Let's share the Patreon link. If you want to see this channel not die, I suggest we get on that train, the Patreon train. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on the Necromancer Show on Facebook. And you can also follow Interface Death on Twitter and on Instagram. We shout out our patrons every show. We got Matt Benton, Clay Borman, and Matthew Jackson. I would love to see a host of names show up on that list so we can get your support on the show. Okay, guys? I love you all. You're in my hearts. I appreciate all the support that I get. And I will see you next time. We're getting Corey Heinzen on the show next week. So please tune in to the Same Bat Time, Same Bat channel every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You all have a good one. Stick around for the usual promotions. I'll see you next time.